Karen, do you want to watch some TV?
But I'm on Facebook now.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Science rules.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Inertia is a property of matter.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
T minus 7 seconds.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Today at Nye Studios, we'll be exploring the topic of women in art. This is my studio, and did you know that every day, Salvador Dali started his morning with a big bowl of surreal art? It's real, it's important, and it's exciting!
Karen, do you know what all those artworks were?
It's on the slide list, Jim.
But what exactly is art, and how does one make art?
What is art?
You can tell that I'm a great artist because of all the paintbrushes I have in my hands. Jenny Seville is another example of what we in the field like to call an artist, somebody who makes art for a living. But what do all these lines and distorted figures mean?
I don't know, Bill. What does it mean?
I'm glad you asked. Let's explore the world of art together.
Hi, I'm Bob Ross, and welcome to the Joy of Art History. Thank you for inviting me into your home.
Jenny Seville's self-portrait is not a smooth, idealized model of classical tradition.
It's not a landscape either. No happy little trees here. Just nudity.
In this huge painting, we see drooping skin and blemished flesh filling the entire composition, hardly the type of woman most male artists would desire to paint. Seville uses oil paint in a variety of hues to replicate the appearance of skin. She previously attended the Glasgow School of Art, where she worked from models in the Life Room for 2 hours every day.
She's very precise with her paints. I just prefer to put clouds wherever the brush wants them to be, but it's entirely up to you.
Seville is aware that her body looks disgusting in comparison to contemporary beauty standards. Rather than trying to redefine beauty, she investigates the source of the disgust. Her painting is an application of a psychological concept called abjection. Even though the audience does not want to look at her body, they cannot bring themselves to look away, so they are eventually able to process and understand their repulsion.
Not a happy little nude at all.
Seville herself has said that the work of the early 20th century expressionist painter Egon Schiele influenced the shocking nature of her own paintings. His 1911 self-portrait shows his emaciated body, quite the opposite of Seville's overflowing flesh. However, both self-portraits are a reflection of cultural anxieties. They investigate and contradict societal expectations of masculinity and femininity. They are both abject bodies which disrupt the nude canon of centuries past.
These big old waves can be whatever they want to be. Women deserve to feel that way too, don't you think? Thank you for joining me today
Oh, you're welcome, Bob.
on the Joy of Art History, and thank you to my friend Bill for inviting me onto his show.
Mr. Bill, is this art? Why, of course it's art, little Katie. Everything is art.
Mr. Bill, is this art?
Why, of course, Katie. Everything is art. Everything is art. 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 Everything is art.
In The Mothers by Seville, we see a rarely depicted representation of motherhood. By coldly rendering this family in a manner of disgust, the viewer becomes repulsed by the overt display of female sexuality and reproduction. These large-scale and disproportionate bodies pressed against the viewing plane forces this private scene into the viewer's life, as though daring the viewer to look away. The mother leans out of her frame, creating a sharp tension that forces the viewer to see her and accept her and her sons as they are naturally. Seville shows this work as a process. She blends sketches for a model of the painting with the finished work on top, depicting the process of art and painting. This reflects on the process and different stages of motherhood that she represents by depicting pregnancy, as well as the 2 children that have already been born, alluding to the process of birth itself. Similarly, in Maternity by Pablo Picasso, the process of his work is also shown in part. However, here Picasso has left us with a warm and loving representation of the intimate bond between a mother and her child. The smoother brushstrokes and warmer colors are peaceful and inviting, a far more traditional representation of maternity, much like classical renditions of Madonna and Child. Unlike Picasso's warm depiction, Seville chose to have her mother fully nude and exposed, with nothing to shelter her but the nudity of her 2 sons. This decision assaults the viewer with the natural functions of the female body that are traditionally concealed in maternity portraiture and portraiture in general. Seville's work is meant to be a statement of the reality for many women and the strength that it takes to be a mother.
Please consider the following.
Consider the following.
Me, a currently well-known contemporary artist, was humbly inspired by a single college course. Halfway through my schooling at the Glasgow College of Art, I won a scholarship to study in the United States at the University of Cincinnati. A course at this school changed the direction of my subject material. The course, Women in the Community, solidified my blossoming feminist views. As a contemporary artist, I portray abstracted women in extreme states of mutilation, distortion, obesity, and brutalization. Thank you for considering the following.
It's like, oh, cool, Jenny Seville. Let's look her up. I like this one. What do you think, Jim?
It's okay.
Let's compare it to Chuck Close. In Jenny Seville's work, Rosetta II, the slacking expression of the portrait confronts the viewer's own perception of what it means to be disabled in a society where a disability is uncomfortable. By smudging, scraping, and dripping her paint, Seville uses the energy of her brushstrokes to make her subject appear stagnant. The head of a young blind woman, Rosetta, becomes the embodiment of a stereotype that makes the viewer uncomfortable. She is an abnormality. In Phyllis Collage, Chuck Close portrays his friend Phyllis through layers of torn, circular monochromatic paper. This repetition of circles in Close's work draws out the imperfections of his subjects. In a similar way, Seville roughens her brushstrokes to give her portraits the same effect. On the other hand, Close's portrait appears daring. As she is depicted, Phyllis stares the viewer in the eye, which makes her appear confident. And, like Seville's use of color, Close uses the absence of color to emphasize the individuality of his subject. He challenges his viewers to see past the realism of his portraits, with all their blemishes and individuality, to the soul of his subject. Both artists use color to convey a message, that beauty is in abnormalities and blemishes. Through rough texture, flashes of color, and intentional composition, Seville paints Rosetta II as a glorification of the flaws of an abnormal woman living in a society which praises perfection. Close, unlike Seville, is an artist who does not focus on the themes of social isolation, obesity, and disfigurement, but on how blemishes show individuality, and by highlighting shadows to emphasize features, using colors associated with rocks and earth, and by making the texture rough, Close casts a layer of permanence over the face of Phyllis Collage, by alluding to her chiseling her out of stone, a steadfast, timeless, natural substance. The attention to detail, precisionist quality displayed through texture, awareness of light and shadows, are elements which become an assemblage of technique both artists use to create abstract realism, a contemporary concept.
Oh wow, art really is interesting. Thanks for the experiment idea.
You're welcome, Cabana Boy.
Did you know that?
Hi, my name is Jenny Seville, and this is my dog Seville. And this is one of my paintings. Today, I would like to compare it to Lionel Smith's African Girl.
In a cultural climate that overvalues physical beauty, especially facial aesthetics, many women feel society obligated to conceal their disgust. A woman is expected to mask wrinkles with makeup, shroud the unwanted jiggle with loose shirts, conceal cellulite with long pants, and hide every piece of evidence of her body that makes her an experienced, accomplished, and empowered individual. Contemporary British artist Jenny Seville's work openly uncovers this disgust. Seville's signature painterly style is emphasized in her work, Bleach. Swift brushstrokes of baby blue, violent crimson, and olive green colors vandalize the skin and contrast greatly with her clear, floating eyes that gaze helplessly into the eyes of the viewers. It is our moral obligation as the viewer, although we are not forced, to read the eyes of the young woman and sense her entrapment. Similar to Seville's Bleach, Lionel Smith's African Girl presents viewers with a large canvas that is occupied by the face of a young girl. Both works are aesthetically and interpretively comparable. The portraits are similar to the covers of contemporary magazines. They fill the entire canvas against a small, neutral background. When encountering both images, viewers may recognize their own flaws while simultaneously feeling obligated to confront and sympathize with the young woman due to their direct gazes. Compositionally, both faces are constructed through the use of painterly brushstrokes. Overall, Seville and Smith overturn cultural barriers and present us with bodies that may have experienced tragedy, flourished through heartbreak, or birthed life. And these experiences, which are visible on the body and face, are above anything truly beautiful.
Oh, hello. Thank you for joining me today. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go paint the town red.
I just want some art for Christmas, Casa or Gentileschi. Don't care if it's a sculpture or a feminist painting. I just want to hang my artwork there above the fireplace. Cunningham would make me happy with some nude photography. I just want some for my own, more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true. All I want for Christmas is nudes. Nudes, baby. All the nudes are hanging so nicely everywhere. And the sound of critics' judgment fills the air. And oh, did I mention fallacy of intention? Santa, won't you bring me the ones I really need? Won't you bring those new paintings to me? Oh, I don't want a lot for Christmas. This is all I'm asking for. I just want a nice nude statue standing right outside my door. I just want one for my own, more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true, baby. All I want for Christmas is nudes, baby.
Nobody wants to see your face. Bill Nye's gonna beat the shit out of you if you don't get out of his screen.
Karen, you better appreciate me. Let's talk to an average civilian.
Art.
Lauren, no.
Extras don't speak.
Enough before.
Quarter pound mac and cheese dog.
Her whole body doesn't even fit in one shot. Like,
Hope you know I am recording.
Hi, my name is Jenny Seville, and this is my dog. Dog Zoe.
I had a wine bottle once. I drank it all.
her butt's bigger than Nicki Minaj.
In unison, Lauren.
What do you have to say? I know.